A lot of people will misinterpret introversion as being shy or extroversion as being outspoken. I know some pretty shy extroverts and I know some pretty outspoken introverts. When we're talking about introversion and extroversion from a neuroscience point of view, we're talking about how much external energy or external stimulus does the brain want at any given moment in order to process at its peak. For the introvert, their brain is naturally very wide awake. That's why they're such gifted internal thinkers, because their brain's on fire. It's as if they walk through life taking pictures with this huge wide-angle lens, and so they only have to be out taking one or two pictures, and then the rest of the time they can sit inside and they can just internally digest all the details. And they can do it in a very self-sufficient way. Now, the extrovert, they are the opposite. Their brain's naturally very, very sleepy. It's like they walk around life taking pictures of the world with little tiny telephoto lens. So they're constantly moving, trying to keep the stimulus so they don't fall asleep. Right in the middle, you have about 40% of the population. They are our ambiverts. We love our ambiverts. Have you ever done one of these assessments or heard one of these presentations and said, well, you know what? Sometimes I want to go out and get lots of stimulus. And then other times, I really need my own time. Guess what? You're probably an ambivert. See, ambiverts kind of they just take pictures of the world with a normal lens. It's not a telephoto, it's not a wide angle. So some days they're fine functioning in a high stimulus situation, and other days they need it more quiet so they can internally digest information. Now the key is when you're applying this to your teams or to your interaction, you've got to stop and think about who am I interacting with? Or what is the person on the team and how are they going to fit in that team if they are an introvert? They're going to be overstimulated really easily. So you never want to place them in a position or hire them for a position, no matter how great they look on paper, if that position is a high stimulus position. If literally that place where they are doing their work is right there at close to the busiest part of the entire office. Literally, their brain's going to be overwhelmed and they're not ultimately going to be happy with the job. Not because they're not qualified or because they don't enjoy the work they're doing, but when the introvert's brain gets overwhelmed, the stress mechanism kicks in. And we're going to talk about what the stress mechanism does to the brain's ability to think in a few minutes. So you want to kind of stop and think. Where are they and how do they fit? And if you've got an introvert, like I mentioned earlier, amidst a bunch of ambiverts and extroverts on a team, it's not that that's not going to work. It's not that you'll never have a cohesive team. If you educate that team on what's going on, then you can build that strength within the team. Because then they're going to understand that Sally introvert over here or Joe introvert over here is going to be a powerhouse thinker for us. We're just going to not constantly tap their shoulder and say, what do you think, what do you think, what do you think? Because that's going to overwhelm them. Simple little thing that's going to make a big difference in the way your team works or in the way you lead as a leader. Right? When you're having your team meetings, if you're dealing with an introvert, right? Don't ever look at them and say, I would like for you to answer this question. Or what do you think? Can you stand up here in front and share it with the rest of the team? Instantly, you're overloading their brain. Now, for the extroverts, they're going to have a lot of extra energy. So if you put them in that quiet cubicle in the corner, they're not going to get any work done. Because they're going to constantly be getting up and moving around. Because they're going to fall asleep. They're literally going to have a hard time staying awake. So their desk position, literally their physical position, is going to be in the noisiest place in the office. They've done interesting testing on introverts versus extroverts and performing on tests. Introverts, if there's any white noise going on, their level goes down. Extroverts, if there's white noise, music playing in the background, people talking in the back of the room, their test scores actually increase. So just kind of give a little thought to that, right? When you're thinking and hiring, when you're leading, when you're communicating with them as a leader or when they're working together as a team.